You're about to hear a courtroom story so shocking, so flawlessly executed, that it left millions of viewers frozen in disbelief. A case where one woman believed she had engineered the perfect deception only to discover she had stepped into the courtroom of someone who had already dismantled her lies before. She even walked through the door. What began as a routine workplace injury claim would turn into the most humiliating public exposure of fraud ever caught on camera. And the trap that triggered it was set with such silent precision that the scammer never saw it coming. Not even when the very man who would destroy her sat quietly just a few feet away, watching her performance like a surgeon studying an X-ray. The woman at the center of this disaster was Melissa Crane, a 45-year-old administrative coordinator who believed she was about to pull off the most profitable insurance scam of her career. She entered the courtroom slowly, dramatically, wearing a spotless shoulder brace and clutching a stainless steel crutch with trembling fingers. Every movement was exaggerated, each breath a portrait of agony. To someone who didn't know better, she looked like a woman barely surviving a catastrophic injury. But to those who knew how scammers worked, and more importantly, to the judge herself, Melissa's entrance was less tragedy and more theater rehearsal. She wasn't just here to win a lawsuit. She was here to collect $60,000 by claiming she had suffered a devastating workplace incident, an injury she insisted would leave her partially disabled for life. She didn't think anyone would dare challenge her story. She had letters from specialists, detailed therapy logs, polished medical terminology, and a performance she had perfected for months. She had tricked doctors, convinced coworkers, misled her own attorney, and now planned to deceive the courtroom. That had exposed thousands of liars before her. Yet Melissa had no idea that the judge had uncovered something so explosive the night before the hearing that she barely slept. Not because she doubted her findings, but because she knew what was about to happen inside. This very room would become one of the most talked about fraud takedowns in daytime TV history. Sitting in the defendant's chair was her former boss, Thomas Reddington, a 61-year-old small business owner whose life had been slowly dismantled by Melissa's accusations. 8 months earlier, she had claimed she injured her shoulder lifting a standard office document box. According to her lawsuit, that simple motion caused a cascade of medical complications that would supposedly require years of treatment. She claimed she couldn't cook, couldn't drive, couldn't even reach for a glass of water without feeling what she dramatically described as lightning bolts of pain shooting through my spine. Thomas looked utterly exhausted. The lawsuit had crippled his business. His insurance premiums had skyrocketed. Longtime employees had quit because of the tension. His retirement fund had been drained to keep the company from collapsing under the weight of the allegations. He had aged 10 years in 8 months, and Melissa knew it. That was part of her plan. Pressure the small business. Force the settlement. Collect the check. Walk away. As Melissa lowered herself into her seat far too slowly, far too carefully, the judge watched with the expression of someone decoding a puzzle she had already solved. The cameras focused on Melissa's face, catching every gray maze she had rehearsed in the mirror. She adjusted her shoulder brace, making sure it stayed perfectly centered for maximum visibility. She let out a soft, audible whimper, and then she turned her head just slightly, just enough to locate the camera angle she preferred. Every move was calculated, every sound strategically placed, except one thing was missing: authenticity. Because what Melissa didn't know, what she couldn't possibly imagine, was that all this time, in the last row of the courtroom, sat a man who had been flown in specifically to expose her. A man whose presence was deliberately concealed from the plaintiff's legal team. A man holding a leather briefcase stuffed with documents that would destroy everything she built. His silver-streaked hair, polished glasses, and tailored navy suit gave him the appearance of a visiting executive. But he wasn't here for business. He was here for truth. He was here because the judge had personally called him at midnight. When the proceedings began, the judge asked Melissa to explain exactly what happened the day she was injured. Melissa launched into her story with the confidence of someone who had told the same lies so many times that it felt like truth. "Your Honor," she began in a carefully measured voice, "I was ordered to lift a large storage box filled with binders. As soon as I picked it up, I felt a tearing sensation like something ripped inside my shoulder. I dropped the box and collapsed. I've been in constant agony ever since." Her attorney nodded sympathetically. The audience whispered. Melissa exhaled dramatically, except there was a problem. Problem Melissa didn't know existed. The judge had already watched the security footage. She had already reviewed the inventory reports. She already knew the box weighed 12 pounds, not nearly 40, as Melissa had claimed in her initial paperwork. She already knew Melissa lifted the same type of boxes for months after the date she claimed. She could barely move, and she already knew about the man in the back row, holding the evidence no scammer could survive. But instead of revealing her hand, the judge allowed Melissa to keep talking, each lie adding another crack to the foundation she didn't realize she was standing on. "I can't reach above shoulder height," Melissa continued. "I haven't been able to perform basic tasks. Even getting dressed takes me an hour." She touched her brace for emphasis, releasing a tiny moan so precisely timed it was almost impressive. The judge gave a slight nod, the kind that fooled liars into thinking they were believed. Then she asked the question that would become the first thread she intended to pull. "Miss Crane, you stated in your written testimony that your right shoulder is severely restricted. Can you lift your arm even slightly, just to demonstrate for the court?" Melissa inhaled sharply, a dramatic, overly rehearsed gasp. Double quotes. "No, Your Honor. I can't lift it more than an inch. The pain is unbearable. It feels like knives cutting into my joint." What Melissa didn't realize was that earlier that morning, while she walked through the building's side entrance, the man in the back row had been standing behind her, and he watched her lift her duffel bag with the same supposedly injured arm, without hesitation, without flinching, without a single visible sign of discomfort. That detail was written in bold letters inside his folder, and in the next part of this story, that folder and everything inside it would explode Melissa's world more violently than anything she could have prepared for. Asterisk. The courtroom settled into an uneasy quiet as the bailiff closed the doors. Olivia, still wearing that smug little smile, crossed her arms as if she'd just sat down in a cafe, not a courtroom. Eric sat beside her, jittery, eyes darting around like he expected someone to drag him out any second. Judge Harper leaned back in her chair, studying them both. Her gaze was sharp, cold, the kind that made even seasoned attorneys swallow. "But Olivia?" She smirked, a bold move. "All right," Judge Harper said calmly. "Let's continue. Miss Olivia, since your father is a senator, you're familiar with how the law works, correct?" Olivia flicked her hair. I know enough." Eric whispered, "Olivia, please." She ignored him completely. Judge Harper raised a brow. "Good. Then you'll also understand that disrespecting this courtroom will not help your case." Olivia shrugged. "I'm not disrespecting anything. I'm just telling the truth. This is boring. I don't even know why I'm here." The gallery murmured. A few people shook their heads. Judge Harper remained composed, but a subtle tension tightened around her eyes, the sign she was running out of patience. She turned to the bailiff. "Bring in the evidence box." A large plastic bin was placed on the table. Eric's face drained of all color. Olivia leaned over and whispered loudly, "What is that?" "You're drunk?" Eric swallowed hard. "You said you returned everything." Olivia rolled her eyes. "Relax, they probably didn't find anything." Judge Harper opened the folder in front of her. The plaintiff claims that Miss Olivia took items from his apartment without permission when she moved out. Olivia burst into a laugh. Took things? Are you serious? He told me to take whatever I wanted. Eric shook his head instantly. No, I told you to take your things. Not mine. Oh, please, she snapped. Your cheap furniture? Your mismatched silverware? Why would I want anything from your tiny apartment? That did it. The gallery reacted again. Whispers, soft giggles, even a gasp. Judge Harper's stare went icy. Miss Olivia, she said slowly, I warned you about your tone. But I'm being honest. Olivia argued. Why doesn't anyone understand that? He's just mad I don't want him anymore. Asterisk. Eric's voice trembled. That's not Olivia, just stop lying. She leaned back dramatically. Lying? Really? Okay, Eric, tell them about the necklace. Tell them how you gave it to me. Eric hesitated. I didn't give it to you. You took it from my mother's jewelry box. The room went silent. Judge Harper looked up sharply. Is this true, Miss Olivia? Olivia scoffed. Oh my God, that little necklace? His mother wasn't even using it. The temperature in the room dropped. Eric's jaw tightened. She passed away, Olivia. It was the only thing I had left from her. For a moment, just half a second, Olivia's smile faltered. Just half. Then she rolled her eyes. Well, how was I supposed to know that? Judge Harper closed the folder with a sharp, controlled snap. Miss Olivia, did you or did you not take the necklace? Olivia smirked. Maybe I did. Maybe I didn't. Depends who you believe. Judge Harper leaned forward, voice low and cutting. I don't make decisions based on belief. I make them based on facts. And the facts are piling up against you. A flicker of irritation crossed Olivia's face. She hated being challenged. It was written all over her. Judge Harper motioned to the bailiff. Show her Exhibit A. The bailiff pulled out a small jewelry box from the evidence bin. Olivia's smirk vanished. The exact necklace. Exact one she swore wasn't in the bin. Judge Harper tapped her pen on the desk. This necklace was found in your bedroom during a lawful search. Care to explain? Olivia blinked rapidly. I mean, that wasn't. I didn't know it was there. So you accidentally stole it? Judge Harper asked dryly. Olivia panicked. He probably planted it there. Eric stared at her in disbelief. Olivia, they found it in your drawer. It's not mine. She snapped back. Judge Harper nodded slowly. Very well. We'll factor that inconsistency into the case. Olivia clenched her jaw. She wasn't used to losing ground. Her pride was larger than the room. Judge Harper closed another file. Next, let's talk about the car. Eric went still. Olivia immediately crossed her arms. What car? The one you crashed, Judge Harper said. Olivia rolled her eyes again. Oh, that. It wasn't even a real crash. Just a dent, Eric whispered, louder this time. A dent? You ripped the door off. It wasn't my fault, Olivia shouted. The street was too narrow. Judge Harper, it was a parking lot. Olivia froze. Everyone stared at her. Judge Harper continued, according to the security footage. You weren't paying attention because, and I quote, you were recording a dancing video for social media. Olivia's face heated. That footage was taken at a weird angle. Judge Harper paused. Then, without breaking eye contact, she said, weird angle or not, you drove a borrowed car into a concrete pole while laughing at yourself in the phone camera. Someone in the gallery actually snorted. Olivia whipped around. Who laughed? Miss Olivia. Judge Harper called firmly. Olivia turned back. Judge Harper stared straight into her soul. You are quickly becoming your own worst enemy in this courtroom. Olivia swallowed. Judge Harper leaned back slightly, folding her hands. And we're only halfway through the evidence? Olivia whispered, barely audible. Halfway. Eric closed his eyes. He knew what was coming next. Olivia did not, but she was about to. Eric shifted uneasily in his seat as Judge Harper pulled a thick stack of documents from the evidence box. Olivia straightened, trying to regain her composure, but the tremor in her fingers betrayed her. For the first time, she wasn't smirking. She wasn't rolling her eyes. She was calculating, trying to figure out how badly this was about to go. Judge Harper flipped through the papers slowly, deliberately. "Miss Olivia," she began, her voice calm but razor-sharp, "are you aware that your messages have been subpoenaed?" Olivia tensed. My messages?" "Yes, your text messages with Eric regarding his credit card." Eric's head dropped into his hands. Olivia forced a laugh. "Oh, that's nothing. Just jokes between us." Judge Harper tapped her finger on the stack. "These do not read like jokes." Olivia swallowed hard. Judge Harper cleared her throat and began reading aloud from one of the messages. "Just give me your card. You're not using it anyway, and I need it more." The gallery rustled with disapproval. Olivia rushed forward, hands raised. "I was kidding. That was sarcasm." Judge Harper lifted another paper. And yet, hours later, his card was used at 5 designer stores. Olivia blinked rapidly. "That wasn't me. Are you suggesting someone stole the card after you texted him for it?" Judge Harper asked, lifting a brow. I mean, it's possible." Judge Harper nodded slowly. "Then who recorded a video that same afternoon, holding bags from those exact stores?" Olivia's face turned pale. That was an old video. It was timestamped with that date," Judge Harper replied calmly. Olivia opened her mouth, then closed it again. "She had nothing," Eric sighed. "I told you not to use my card. You told me you'd pay it back." Olivia snapped. "Well, you shouldn't have given it to me." Eric lifted his head, eyes red with frustration. "You took it from my wallet when I was asleep?" The gallery gasped. Olivia shot up from her seat. "Lies, he's lying." Judge Harper raised one hand. Instantly, the room fell silent. "Miss Olivia, sit down." Olivia dropped into her chair, breathing heavily, her confidence nearly gone. Judge Harper folded the documents neatly. "We're not done." A clerk handed her a small sealed envelope. Judge Harper opened it and pulled out printed screenshots. Eric looked down. He already knew what they were. Olivia stared rigidly ahead. "These," Judge Harper said, "are messages between Yo*." Olivia stiffened. Judge Harper continued, her tone steady, unshaken by the tension building in the room. "In these messages, you refer to Eric as..." She paused, eyes scanning the paper. "A stepping stone, a temporary boyfriend until someone richer comes along, and useful for rides. Food and gifts." Eric squeezed his eyes shut, trying not to react, but the pain cut deep. Olivia stammered. Those were jokes. Private jokes. People joke like that?" Judge Harper looked at her with a cold, unmoved expression. "Do you also joke about intentionally crashing his car?" Olivia's head snapped up. Judge Harper read another screenshot aloud. "If he doesn't take me shopping this week, I swear I'll accidentally scratch his precious car." The gallery exploded with murmurs. Olivia's voice cracked. That wasn't serious." Judge Harper set the papers down. "Yet the crash happened 3 days later." "It wasn't my fault," Olivia repeated, but now her voice trembled. I wasn't serious." Judge Harper didn't react. She simply reached into the evidence box and pulled out a small bag containing a key fob. Eric's key fob. "Miss Olivia," she said calmly, "care to explain why this was found in your purse during the search?" Olivia looked like she'd been slapped. I don't know. I probably forgot to return it. Judge Harper lifted her gaze. You lived across town. There was no reason for you to still have this key. Olivia's breaths grew shallow. Eric, looking exhausted, whispered, You kept showing up to my apartment. You said you just needed to talk, but you weren't invited. I told you not to come anymore. Judge Harper turned her attention back to Olivia. Miss Olivia, the evidence suggests you kept the key intentionally. Asterisk, Olivia blurted, You're twisting everything. Judge Harper remained serene. I'm reading documented facts. Olivia's jaw clenched. This is ridiculous. My father will. Judge Harper froze. The room seemed to stop breathing. Your father will. What? She asked softly. Olivia hesitated. She said nothing. Judge Harper leaned forward slowly. Let me be extremely clear, Miss Olivia. No senator, no politician, no wealthy parent has authority in this courtroom. If you are implying influence, intimidation, or expectation of special treatment, that ends now. Olivia's mouth quivered. She looked down at the table. Judge Harper waited a beat. Then she continued calmly, and now we must address the most serious allegation. Eric tensed. Olivia looked up, confused. Judge Harper held up a final folder thin, yet somehow heavier than everything before it. This concerns the damage done to Eric's family heirloom. The antique painting. Olivia's confusion wavered into guilt. Eric's voice cracked. My grandfather's painting. You said you didn't touch it? Olivia shook her head frantically. I didn't. I swear. Judge Harper opened the folder and pulled out a photograph. A ripped canvas. An antique frame broken in half. A painting destroyed. Olivia's lips parted in shock. She shook her head violently. No, that wasn't me. I didn't do that. I didn't. Judge Harper spoke quietly, but her voice carried power. The damage report shows the painting was slashed deliberately, and forensic technicians found your fingerprints on the fragments. Olivia froze completely, and Judge Harper added, a footprint that matches one of your shoes. Eric looked at her. Not angry. Not yelling. Just broken. Why? He whispered. Olivia opened her mouth, but no sound came out. The gallery stared at her as if seeing her for the first time. Judge Harper closed the file. We'll move to the final phase shortly. But before that, Miss Olivia. She paused, letting the silence crush the room. I suggest you think very carefully about the next words that come out of your mouth. And for the first time, Olivia had nothing to say. Asterisk. The courtroom air felt heavier, now thick. Tense, loaded with the weight of everything Olivia had tried to shrug off. She sat frozen, staring at the photograph of the ruined painting as if it were some kind of illusion she could blink away. Judge Harper closed the folder gently and set it aside. But her calmness only made the atmosphere more suffocating. Miss Olivia, she said quietly, we are approaching the point where your accountability or lack thereof will determine the outcome of this case. Asterisk. Olivia didn't respond. Her eyes remained glued to the table, her breath shallow and shaky. Eric looked at her with a blend of hurt and exhaustion. He wasn't gloating. He wasn't celebrating. He was just done. The kind of done that comes after giving someone too many chances. Judge Harper placed her elbows on the bench, fingers interlocked. I'm going to ask you a direct question, and I expect a direct answer. Asterisk. Olivia stiffened. Did you destroy the painting? It felt like the walls leaned closer to hear her answer. Olivia's lips parted. Her voice cracked. I didn't mean to. Eric's head snapped up. The courtroom reacted with soft murmurs. Judge Harper didn't move. Explain? Olivia swallowed hard. I was angry. He broke up with me. He threw me out. He said I used him, that I was selfish, that I didn't care about him. Eric whispered, because you didn't. Olivia glared at him, but it wasn't the confident glare she used earlier. This one was desperate, panicked. I cared. She shouted, I did. But you kept treating me like I was nothing. Like I wasn't enough. Eric frowned, confused. Olivia, I treated you well. Too well? Olivia scoffed, tears finally forming. Then why didn't you let me keep anything? Why did you make me feel like a thief? I lived there too. I deserve something. Judge Harper leaned in slightly. So you vandalized something of high emotional value to him? Olivia's voice broke. I wanted him to feel hurt. Like he hurt me. Eric's face turned cold. You destroyed the only thing I had left of my grandfather. Olivia looked down, ashamed for a moment. But then, as quickly as it came, her remorse twisted back into defensiveness. It wasn't even that pretty. She muttered that the gallery recoiled with soft gasps. Eric blinked in disbelief. Judge Harper closed her eyes briefly, gathering patience like a soldier loading ammunition. Miss Olivia, she said firmly, your lack of remorse concerns me deeply. I am remorseful. Olivia insisted. I said I didn't mean to. You meant it enough to do it. Judge Harper snapped for the first time. The force of her voice silenced the entire room instantly. Olivia swallowed her. Protest. Judge Harper turned to Eric. Mr. Collins, please approach. Eric stood and walked to the plaintiff's podium. Judge Harper handed him a document. This is the full financial estimate of damages, including the stolen items, unauthorized credit card charges, the car accident, and the destroyed painting. Eric glanced through it, but his expression didn't change. He already knew. He's been living this case long before it entered the courtroom. Judge Harper turned back to Olivia. You're facing significant financial liability. Olivia looked stunned. Financial liability? For what? Accidents and misunderstandings? Judge Harper's voice cut through the air. For a pattern of reckless behavior, dishonesty, emotional manipulation, and willful property damage. Olivia laughed nervously. You're exaggerating. This is blown out of proportion. I'm not some criminal. Judge Harper nodded. You may not be a criminal, Miss Olivia, but you're irresponsible, immature, and dangerously entitled. Olivia snapped. I'm not entitled. Judge Harper raised one eyebrow, the exact kind of eyebrow raise Olivia should have feared from the beginning. You expect to take what you want. You expect forgiveness when it suits you. You expect others to clean up your messes. You expect immunity because of your father. Olivia froze. Judge Harper continued, voice low and sharp. That is entitlement. And today it ends. Olivia opened her mouth, but no sound came out. Judge Harper tapped her pen once. Now, there is one more matter we must address before I deliver the final decision. Eric looked at her, puzzled. Olivia, terrified, shifted in her seat. Judge Harper lifted a small printed document. This, she said, is an anonymous submission. It arrived this morning. Olivia blinked fast. Anonymous. Judge Harper continued, it contains information relevant to this case. Information that may shed light on Miss Olivia's intentions and actions. Olivia's hands began trembling violently. Her voice barely escaped her throat. Who sent that? Judge Harper didn't blink. The sender didn't identify themselves. But the content, she opened the document, includes screenshots of conversations between you and a different individual. Someone you were seeing while dating Eric? Eric's eyes widened. The gallery murmured louder. Olivia's heart practically stopped beating. Judge Harper read from the document slowly. Clearly, Eric is boring, but he pays for everything. I'm only with him until I get what I want. After that, I'm done. Eric felt like the floor tilted beneath his feet. Judge Harper lifted another screenshot. Don't worry. I'll dump him soon. I already got the necklace, the trips, and the card. I just need that painting next. It'll sell for a lot. Eric staggered. Olivia, you wanted to sell it? Olivia panicked. No, that's fake. Someone edited that. It's not real. Judge Harper held up the envelope. The metadata confirms these screenshots were extracted from your device. Olivia felt the world collapse. Eric's heartbreak turned to quiet, shaking anger. Judge Harper closed the folder calmly. And when she spoke, her voice held the weight of judgment long overdue. Miss Olivia, you didn't destroy that painting out of emotional impulse. Olivia's eyes overflowed with tears. Judge Harper leaned forward. Destroyed it because you couldn't sell it. Olivia broke. The courtroom remained silent as her facade fully shattered everything she'd tried to hide now laid bare, and it wasn't over yet. Judge Harper wasn't done. Asterisk. The silence in the courtroom was suffocating, so complete that even the faint hum of the ceiling lights felt loud. Olivia sat trembling, her entire posture deflated, her confidence shattered beyond repair. Her mascara had smudged beneath her eyes, her hands shook uncontrollably, and for the first time since she stepped into the courtroom, she looked small. Judge Harper placed the anonymous screenshots down with deliberate precision, as if sealing Olivia's fate with every movement. Eric stood frozen beside her, eyes fixed on the floor, barely holding himself together. When Judge Harper finally spoke, her voice carried the weight of finality. Miss Olivia, she said, you have presented this court with a pattern of manipulation, dishonesty, and deliberate harm. What began as a simple dispute about property has revealed a deeper issue: your complete disregard for the emotional, financial, and personal boundaries of others. Olivia wiped her face. Please, I didn't mean for any of this to get so big. Judge Harper raised a hand. Do not interrupt me. Olivia went quiet immediately. Judge Harper continued. You used Mr. Collins for financial gain. You deceived him. You took his belongings without permission. You recklessly damaged his vehicle. You spent his money without consent. You destroyed an irreplaceable family heirloom. And when confronted, you repeatedly lied and attempted to use your father's status to intimidate this court. Olivia lowered her head. Her shoulders shook as silent tears streamed down her cheeks. Judge Harper's tone remained steady. Your actions display not only entitlement, but a willingness to harm others when you don't get what you want. Olivia tried again, voice shaking. I'm sorry, okay? I'll apologize to him properly. I'll fix it. I swear. Judge Harper's eyes didn't soften one bit. An apology does not erase consequences. Olivia's lips quivered. Please, I can pay a fine or do community service. I'll learn from this. I promise. Judge Harper leaned forward slightly. You're not here to suggest your own punishment, Miss Olivia. You're here to receive it. Eric slowly looked up at Olivia. His expression wasn't angry anymore, just tired. Tired in a way that suggested he had carried this much longer than anyone realized. Judge Harper turned to him. Mr. Collins, is there anything you wish to say before I deliver the judgment? Eric hesitated. The whole courtroom waited for his words. After a long breath, he finally spoke. I didn't bring this case because I wanted revenge. I needed her to stop. She kept hurting me, and even after everything, part of me wanted to believe she cared. But she didn't. He swallowed hard. I just want closure. And I want her to finally understand she can't treat people like disposable things. Olivia's tears fell harder. Judge Harper nodded. Thank you. Please be seated. Eric returned to his seat. Judge Harper folded her hands. This court has reached a decision. Every head lifted. Every breath paused. Even Olivia froze, waiting for whatever storm was about to fall. Judge Harper's voice was firm, uncheckable. Miss Olivia Bennett, you are hereby ordered to repay the full financial damages totaling, she read from the document, $28,600 for the stolen items, unauthorized credit transactions, and vehicle damage. Olivia gasped. Judge Harper continued without pause. You will additionally compensate Mr. Collins $14,000 for the destroyed painting. This amount covers professional appraisal, historical value, and sentimental impact. Olivia clutched her chest as if stabbed. 14,000? For an old Judge Harper snapped. One more disrespectful word and you will be held in contempt. Olivia shut her mouth instantly. Judge Harper continued. You will also attend a mandatory 6-month behavioral responsibility program, focusing on accountability and empathy. Olivia blinked through tears. A what? Judge Harper ignored the comment. And until the full amount is repaid, your wages, present or future, will be garnished at a legal percentage. Olivia stared at her in horror. My wages? You can't. This will ruin me. Judge Harper finally let a sliver of ice into her voice. Miss Bennett, you did that yourself? Olivia covered her face, sobbing into her palms. Lastly, Judge Harper added, you are forbidden from contacting Mr. Collins in any form directly or indirectly. Violation of this order will result in immediate legal action. Eric exhaled a long, heavy breath, relief mixed with the ache of everything he'd endured. Olivia's sobs grew louder. Please don't do this. I didn't know it would go this far. My father, he'll be furious. I can't. Judge Harper spoke one final time, the courtroom hanging on every word. This case is not about your father. It is about you. Your choices. Your consequences. She lifted her gavel. Judgment is hereby entered in favor of the plaintiff. CRACK. Gavel fell like thunder. Olivia flinched so hard her entire body jolted. Judge Harper stood. This court is adjourned. The bailiff called out. All rise. Everyone stood. Eric remained still for a moment, staring quietly at the floor, then finally walked out of the courtroom. Free of her for the first time, Olivia sat alone at the defendant's table, trembling, mascara streaking down her cheeks. Her once arrogant expression replaced with the emptiest look she had ever worn. Her father's influence couldn't protect her. Her charm couldn't save her. Her lies couldn't shield her. Today, she was just Olivia. And for the first time in her life, she faced the consequences she never thought she'd have to face.